It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is with us in the booth, and you're watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, 790 The Score. Anywhere you podcast, you can catch us, and email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. We're going to pick that. We're going to either pick that or we're going to pick a heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Give us a call 24/7. Leave us a message. Anything's on the table. I mean, have a take, though, right? I mean, right, Mark?
Well, they have to have a take. I mean, come on.
Have a take. Joe's going to pick one. Let's let it be yours. So 855-313-7287. Hey, busy one today. We got a busy one. A lot of different things we're going to talk about today.
Big week this week. Big week.
Yeah. And a weekly rewind, we're going to talk Celtics, Bruins, a little bit of Providence College. I'm going to get on those kids today, Mark. A little bit.
A little bit.
And, of course, Catone's comments. You don't want to miss that. And we're going to hear from one of you in the nation in Heated Hotline. And we're going to bring Pat's Nation and talk our Super Bowl preview, the big game coming up tomorrow. And Mark and I have some thoughts on that. So, gentlemen.
Hey.
How we feel? Mark, you got a cool shirt on today. What is that?
Like my shirt?
Hey, there it is.
There's the Canadian Mist.
Canadian Mist.
Yes, our most loyal listener, Steve from Colorado, sent Mark that. If you go back in and if you haven't heard it, then shame on you. But go back into the archives a few shows ago. Mark was talking about Christmas and who he invited over, and he had to serve bourbon, and he said, "Hey, Canadian, I'm not serving Canadian Mist," he said. So Steve sent you the shirt, so it's nice you're wearing that tonight. So, okay, got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. Don't want to waste any time. Let's do it in weekly rewind, Joe. Going back through the week, about a weekly rewind. Busy week, Mark. Let's get right into the Celtics right now because the little Bruins are coming back from break too. Real quick on the Bruins. Bruins coming back from break. They came out of the box, played like crap.
Yeah,
okay. And just really quick, is that a throwout game coming off the break? 11 days, Mark. How do you take a look? Yeah. It used to be 3-4 days for All-Star break. Now it's 11?
Well, because we didn't play. It's just the way the schedule broke. Teams played the beginning of that All-Star week. We just happened to have a break. So, 11 days, we'll chalk it up as they're going to get back into the flow and let's see what happens because that wasn't a typical game for them, but we'll see.
Well, as we break them down in the coming weeks, we want to talk about the trade deadline for them, and we got to talk about some defense that we think they're going to need and what should they do with their goaltender. But speaking of trade deadlines, talking about the Celtics now, okay? So we're back to this again, Mark. About watching this team play, and it's odd because we're going to come down a little bit on a team that's top of the league, right?
Yeah.
But you watch this team play, and you say to yourself, okay, because look, it's banner 18 or nothing at this point.
At this point, Chris, that's where they're at this year. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you watch this team, you see banner 18 going up, like this is it.
No. Well, I say no, and I'm basing it off of the last few times they've played a team that's kind of punched them in the mouth, Chris. They go back to the old Celtics, just chucking threes. They don't show any toughness. There's no, you know what I mean? They go back to what they've done in the past, and which is why they've lost these series.
So, okay. So now who we putting them? When you say go back to what they've done in the past, what are you
what they did against Golden State, what they did against Miami in those two, specifically in those two series, right? And how they didn't adjust, the type of what they were doing on offense, the fact that they didn't have any grit on defense, which they've been playing decent defense. Chris, the other night, LeBron James and Anthony Davis didn't play.
Yeah.
Porzingis should have scored 50 points. They
Easy.
just kept chucking up threes, Chris.
So that's what. So when you say going back to their old ways, you're talking about the chucking,
Yeah.
the individual, the hero ball, everybody get out
And
of the way, no
and
spacing.
Chris, the analytic nerds that feed Missoula are okay with that, though.
Yeah, we talked a few weeks ago about this team turning a corner, and we gave Missoula props, and we said, look, the way they're patient in searching for matchups. They're trying to get matchups because they know they're the better team. They know that player for player, when you break them down, 9 out of, unless they're playing Jokic, they got the number 1 player, they got the number 2, they got the number 3 when you match up guy for guy. And so they were patient in looking for the matchups, creating those matchups, creating spacing on the floor, high pick and rolls, getting those 2 guys going downhill, Tatum and Brown. All those things, the spacing, which created good looks. I haven't seen it now.
No.
I mean, I've seen the old look. You go throw up three-pointer, you clear out, and everybody's standing on the corners waiting for Tatum to do something. He gets caught down low now again, Jaylen Brown, where they don't kick out, right?
Yeah, they're going back to their old habits, Chris. And listen, in that Laker game, Chris, that ball should have just been pounded. Porzingis had a clear advantage, and even if he didn't shoot from or inside or score, he could have very easily kicked out for easier shots. Chris, they just kept chucking threes, and they were okay with it. And the 2 guys, Chris, that beat them, Russell and the other guy, Reeves. Where the heck was our defensive intensity? Those 2 guys are bums. They're scrubs. They're like throwing guys, and they beat you. Those 2 guys scored like 30 points apiece. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, this is what pisses you off about Tatum. Okay, this is the thing that pisses me off, and it has for a few years now about this guy, where it's about the lights. It's about the lights. I mean, if LeBron's not playing, AD's not playing. So what's that mean? That means it's like popping a pin for him. Instead of saying, oh man, instead of being like Bird, I'm going to play this game left-handed tonight because this team's got nothing for us. So I'm going to play the whole game left-handed and still put it 30. You see what I mean? Like that, go get it. Go alpha guy. I'm going to kick the crap out of you now because you decided to sit your 2 guys because you were afraid to bring them in here and play against us. Instead, he kind of fades out and says, okay,
well, Chris, in the post-game press conference, what was it? Tatum said, I guess we had a bad week at work. What? What are you talking about? A bad week at work?
Yeah, we all work,
Are you kidding me? Really? That's your response.
Well, that's the problem, and that's the problem.
Okay.
That's one of the problems. You even go back to last Sunday, when they played with Marcus Smart came back in with a nice tribute and was good
Memphis.
to see him.
And
it was nice. When they played Memphis, Porzingis, I'm watching this game and they beat him by 30, but Porzingis in the paint was like, he could have had 40 just in the paint, just posting up. Yeah. And they didn't bother with it, Mark.
They don't. Chris, they're going to continue to shoot threes. And if they get in a series against a team like Denver or even Milwaukee, Chris, I'm interested to see how Milwaukee plays them with Doc. Okay? You're going to have to change what you do. Obviously, the last 2 years should have told you that don't work. It's not going to work for continuously in playoff series against teams that are going to respond to it. In that Denver game, Chris, that they played, which we lost, Denver was daring them to take 15 and 20-foot jump shots, take a mid-range jumper. They were daring them to. They kept kicking it back out. They wouldn't take the shot, Chris. I mean, what are you kidding me?
And so we give it to the guys on the court. Now, okay, let's talk about Joe Mazzulla right now, okay? Because at the end of the day, I guess you can't have it both. We can't say, well, it's a players' league. It's not really a coach's league. Now let's put it on the coach. But, I mean, he's promoting this type of play, though. I mean, he's promoting the type of play of
No, he
Let's
is.
put up as many 3 points as we can. Does he not see it?
That's
Does
the
anybody
offense,
not
Chris.
see it, Mark? Then what the hell did you
Yeah.
go get Porzingis for?
I assume they got Porzingis, Chris, for those games against Jokic. I guess if the Lakers had AD, right? If Davis played in that game against Giannis, I assume that's why they went and got a guy like him. But if you're not going to utilize him and incorporate the type of offense, Chris, that he can help you do, which they have done at times during the season, then what the heck was the point? You're right. Well, I don't know what the point was.
I mean, they could, I keep saying this over and over again, but they can play in the post as much as they want, including Tatum. Tell me a player that matches up with him in the post.
There isn't.
With his kind of skill at 6'8", he can take anybody down there. And when the double comes, you got the kick, and you got shooters all over you got the kick out. Porzingis, same thing. I get it, rim protection, and they
then
say,
Chris,
well,
also,
defense sparks our offense, and
but we're continually talking about Porzingis, Tatum, and Brown, but they're also not utilizing Holiday and Derek White either, the way that you could utilize them, Chris, to make this offense run smoother and easier and create easier shots, get shots in the, drive to the basket, go to the paint, get fouled. Holiday and White can do other things to create and to score, Chris. They're not even doing that with them, allowing them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the Holiday situation, and I don't think enough people are talking about this. It's a little disappointing right now. We knew his points would go down. I mean, he was coming in. I think he came in. He averaged about what, 16, 17
something
a game.
like that.
Now he's down to like 13, 14. Right. But it's the assists I look at. His average assist, it should be better. He should have the ball in his hands more.
Yeah,
I don't
I
don't like how they're using him.
No.
So,
and Chris, they're going to need him when they go up against a Lillard. They're going to need Holiday to do some different things to create and. I
mean, I know Mazzulla knows what he's talking. I mean, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. He knows basketball, but is he just such a friggin' stubborn mule from Rhode Island that he just won't? That's it. This is what we do. We're gonna live and die by that by the outside shot. That's it. When we have the tools to do everything else, is that it?
It appears once again that could be it. That could be what they roll with again, and see how far it takes them. I hope that's not what he does, but it appears in these key matchups, the last 2 weeks, we gave him props, but then it was almost like after we gave him props, he like went back to what they were doing. But when they lose,
Joe, he's not pissed off enough about this.
Right?
Who?
You?
Nah.
I had a odd question. Now the fact that they're like
usually
6,
do.
I know. Like Porzingis is 7'2". The fact that like on TV, I know it looks like he's shooting a 3-pointer. He's far out, but like in real time, he's huge. That basket's kind of like a jump shot for the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? To him,
he's like throwing it down.
Yeah, I mean, he's better off taking some shots like that way out all the time.
But Joe, the problem is when you got a guy like that, okay, and yeah, he has range, but when you have a guy like that in most games you play, I would say, Mark, what's the percentage? 80 some odd percent of the teams they're going to play against, he's gonna have there's a mismatch there for him.
Absolutely, yeah, probably
down low.
Yeah, probably.
You got to take advantage of that. You got to take advantage of that. And then Tatum and Smart can play better, and they can play downhill.
And
so
Chris, early in the year, they actually were almost using him like a point center, where the ball would go down there, and he would be the one that he would flow. Things would flow off him. They even stopped doing that.
I know. I don't understand. I don't know, Mark. You're not mad enough about this. You're not pissed off enough about this. I'm disappointed with this. Disappointed with the energy you're bringing to this.
Joe, listen.
Okay, so something near and dear to you, Providence College. Now, look, I'm not a big college guy. Okay, you know this. I'm not a big college basketball, football, or anything else. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm used to getting pissed off at the pros. Is that not allowed with these kids? Because let me tell you something, okay? I watched them play against Villanova the other day, last week, whatever. I was so pissed off watching this game. I had two teams. I had the Celtics playing. And I was so irritated watching this game. And I'm like, I'm texting you over and over again. And when it comes to PC, you know, they're going to get a pass no matter what with him. Okay.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
6 points in 10 minutes? They scored 6 points in 10 minutes, Mark. How's that? That's not even okay in high school.
Yeah, no, they had a bad game. They had a bad game. What do you want? They had a bad game.
Week at work.
It was a bad week.
What were the finals? Were there tests being taken that week? What? I don't understand. What's going on? Why? Why do they look so bad,
Well,
Mark?
here's a couple of things on Sunday. So they left it all out on the court against UConn on Wednesday, the previous game, and the refs didn't do them any favors, and the refs didn't do either team any favors in that game. It was a poorly, I thought, refereed game on both sides, but PC left it all on the court.
You're talking about UConn. There was like
The
8,000 fouls
game,
called
yeah.
in that game.
Yeah, it was
ridiculous.
like
4 hours.
But I think in that game, Chris, you know, obviously Bryce Hopkins is out, right? He's out for the year. He's hurt. He's one of their best players. But in the UConn game, at the end, towards the last minute and a half, 2 minutes of that game, Devin Carter goes down on his hip. He was not 100% against Villanova. You could tell he played. Jaden Pierre, I mean, these are college kids. I don't know what the issue was. He looked like he had no legs. He played tough defense against Newton all night against UConn. He shows up Sunday, and it looks like he had no legs. I mean, the college kids, you should have legs. You're, 20 years old, right?
4 days later.
He looked completely dead. I think Carter is definitely banged up. And it was also, to me, Chris, it was a lack of concentration and understanding what was going on out there. Like, it wasn't, they shot terrible, right? They did. There was the ball movement was terrible. They shot terrible. They looked gassed. 10 minutes into the game, they looked gassed, which I don't understand. But they also lost concentration. There was guys for Villanova that they were just leaving wide open. They weren't rotating. They weren't getting out. They weren't boxing out. There were things that they typically would do. They just weren't doing. And I'm saying to myself, but what's going on? And then like 3 days later, you hear English say, well, you know, there was a lack of some concentration out there, and that's on me. And I'm like, oh, shoot, that's what I thought too. But so it was terrible, Chris. You're right. 6 points in 10 minutes is totally unacceptable. You can't beat anybody scoring 6 points in 10 minutes. So they got a big week this week. They got Creighton, they got Butler. If they want to make the NCAA tournament, Chris, and right now it's a coin flip. I don't know if they're going to get in, but if they're going to make it, they have to win 10 or 11 Big East games because the conference is so good. Right now, they have 5 wins. They got to find a way to get 5 more. I don't know if they can, but they got to find a way to get 5 or 6 more wins. You might have to win a game in the Big East tournament. I don't know. But the key to them, Chris, is Odoro's going to have to stay on the floor, the center. Somebody other than Carter is going to have to shoot. Sometimes it's Ticket Gaines. Sometimes it's a combination of Jaden Pierre, the freshman Barron. But somebody else has to score. They just don't have any other options without Bryce Hopkins on the floor. I want to see how they react against Creighton. It'll tell you a lot about this team, and it'll tell us something about Kim English, to see what he can get out of these guys against Creighton.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're going to be following it closely. Also, the Celtics, they seem to be having the same problems, just chucking. We'll see. And next week, we're going to talk, the trade deadline came and went. We're going to talk what Celtics did. They put Tillman on the team. That doesn't really move the needle. So we'll talk about that more next week. Let's hear from you in Heated Hotline. But Weekly Rewind was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, wake up, Mark. Because when we come back, stop drinking Canadian Mist, because Catone's Comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone Comment!
So I know it's the beginning of February, okay? First, second week of February. But one thing we never talked about on this show, and I know Chris brought it up a couple of times. He was dying to talk about New Year's resolutions. Listen, I hate New Year's resolutions. New Year's Eve drives me out of my mind, okay? What? Listen, all New Year's is to me, it's another year. It's one step closer to death. Death. That's it. Freeze me in time. I don't want to. What's this? Oh, 2024. Yeah, I'll be dead. 1 year less, I'll be dead. What? Are you kidding me? These people, like, what is wrong with you people? Then New Year's Eve, it drives me insane. People want to go out. They want to drink. They want to pee on themselves, puke on themselves. What are you kidding me? Really? You got to get that drunk, and then you want to get in a car, behind the wheel of a car, and drive yourself home and put somebody else's life in jeopardy. Call an Uber, call a ride service, something. You want to get behind the wheel of a car after you just puked your brains in because you drank so much. Are you kidding me? Really? You have to be kidding me. Then you got these morons, and they are morons, who go to New York City to watch some foolish ball drop. You can't even move. Guy, you got people that they're looking for terrorist bombs, and you're cramming into New York City to watch a ball drop. Get a Christmas ball and drop it from your staircase and say Happy New Year. Get a Christmas ball and drop it. That's all you do. Very simple. It's not difficult. And then you have these New Year's resolutions. I'm going to work out. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to have a different lifestyle. No, you're not. You're 30 pounds heavier than you were last year. What new lifestyle are you going to do? What are you doing? You're going to do the same thing you did. You're going to stuff your face. You're going to eat unhealthy. You're going to smoke. You're going to drink. You're going to do everything you're not supposed to do by January 10th. By January 10th. That's what you're doing. So why are you wasting your time with this nonsense? New Year's resolutions, New Year's Eve. Listen, let me sit in my house, put the TV on, maybe have a drink, go to bed, wake up the next morning, feel great, watch football games the next day. Well, I don't understand the obsession with New Year's Eve, New Year's, Happy New Year. What? Are you kidding me? Really? Are you kidding me? You have to be kidding me with all this nonsense. And I know it's the beginning of February, but we never got a chance to talk about this. So that's my take on all this.
Happy Valentine's Day, too.
Yeah.
Don't get me talking about Valentine's Day.
It's a lot of love coming. A lot of love I'm feeling coming this way. He's so negative, though.
Why am I negative?
You know, why can't you take examples from me?
From you.
Positivity and just, is that a word? Just
I guess.
Being positive about life. 2024 is my year, man. My year. Yeah, I'm with him, Joe. I mean, well, listen, okay, so Mark, because last year you had a New Year's resolution. You said on the show, I'm going to be resolute. I'm going to be calm thing, and then we did a show.
How long did that last?
We did a show like what, Joe, it just turned out that was the week, right after, and it lasted maybe not even 24 hours.
Yeah.
He was screaming and yelling and,
Screaming.
I will say though, Mark, over the last year, you've gotten you have mellowed out some, Joe. I mean,
Joe, you think so?
Yeah, well,
Joe, did you have a resolution?
FCC called, and we had to mellow him out.
We got on 790, and now now he's tanking. But Joe, did you have any with your resolution? You're into all that crap, aren't you?
Oh yeah, this year, my New Year's
Stars and,
resolution
you know.
was to say go. Did that even play?
What the heck was that?
Oh, yourself.
Yeah. I never have one. I never had Mark. The only reason why you hate New Year's resolutions is because you can't keep it. You can't follow it. That's why you hate it.
No,
You know?
no.
What, 54? You just don't. You know. I never have. My New Year's resolution every single year is the same thing. I said it last year. I'll say it again. It's to not have one. That's it. I'm resolute to not have a resolution. But yeah, you know what? You're right. I can't stand. I don't go anywhere on New Year's Eve either, Mark.
No, I go nowhere.
Over here, everything you have to drive a long way for everything.
Oh
So-
yeah.
And then here they shoot guns in the air. They shoot them straight up in the air. Woohoo! Yeah, like the Wild West. And then the random gunplay and fire all over the joint. I don't go anywhere. I just take a bottle of champagne and down it. I usually call Mark around 2 a.m.
Yeah, drinking the stupid bottle of champagne. He sends me a picture. He got the bottle.
You know what I do? I watch all the old horror. I watch like Frankenstein and Dracula. I don't know why, but I watch that crap on New Year's Eve. This is what I do.
We did something new this year. We did an Irish New Year's. And I know to you guys that might sound like I'm giving it a twist, but actually, we went to a pub and celebrated Irish New Year's with Ireland at their time. It was like at 3:00. We were done by 8. Everybody's home by 9.
So pretty much, Joe or those people, Mark, that you're talking about, drooling and throwing up on themselves, and
that was Joe. That was Joe urinating on himself. That was Joe. Yeah.
But midday. We didn't do it late at night. We did it midday.
Okay. So that makes it all right.
While people drive into the bars.
I like the classy way you say it, urinating on themselves. Yeah, it's nice. But the New York City, listen, I know people that have gone to New York City.
How bad is that?
First of all, you know they used to drop an apple, not a ball. It was an apple.
It was an apple, yep.
I don't know what would possess anybody to go into that situation. What happens if you go to the bathroom?
No,
you got a big problem. You're gonna have to wear. You're gonna have to wear Depends.
You can't. Another sponsor. Make sure.
Another sponsor.
CORSO Catone at gmail.com.
Listen. Just send them a check.
I'm telling you. Listen, what are you going to do? Nah, you did nothing. Listen, first of all, there are three things I don't like. Okay, I don't like sand, so I don't like the beach, and I don't like people. I don't like people. I don't want to be around people.
Is there anything you do like?
No.
All right.
I don't like myself. So how would I like anybody else?
There it is.
There it is.
So no New Year's resolutions for Mark or anything like that.
No,
he's not following them. That's
Done.
it. So don't even bother with. But hey, email Mark. Let us know some of your New Year's resolutions. And since it's February, let us know how it's going with it. You know, let us know.
What are your Valentine's resolutions? That's what we want to know.
You know, and listen, I know we're over, but I did want to ask you guys, how long should you be saying Happy New Year to people?
Oh, yeah.
When we past that now?
We're past that now. The whole month of January, we did ask this question. The whole month of January is acceptable if you see the person for the first time since, last year. But February, we're out of it now.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're right. It's not happy. You're right, Mark. This year's going to suck just like last year sucked.
So,
and they're going to lose. They're going to lose just as many games, and they're only going to win 3 games. That's what's going to happen next year. So it's going to suck the same as it did last year, Mark. Right? And there it is. So good stuff. Good stuff. Catone's comments was presented by CORSO Catone, the real deal New England Field, Saturdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. Sponsorships are available. Make sure you give us an email. Mark will read it for you. As long as it's nothing to do with New Year's, Mark will take care of it for you. 855-313-PATS, CORSO.Catone at gmail.com. Hey, when we come back, we're going to hear from one of you in the nation in Heated Hotline. No flipping.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's
crap
it.
is- What is wrong with
Get him on this damn
you?
show.
Lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Corso and Catone. Joe, the gremlins are out today. Everything's crawling into computer systems here.
Oh,
Things
well,
aren't working.
listen, I'm having a tough time tonight. I
Mark's
don't
having.
understand it.
See that shirt you're wearing? I think it's the
The
shirt.
Canadian missed. I don't know. Might be bad luck. I don't know.
I think it's the shirt.
He said,
Get rid of
"Pull
that
up with
shirt.
that shirt."
Well, let's see if one of you out there in the nation can pick us up. Heated hotline, Joe. Let's have it.
Pick you up. Now, would I do that to you guys? Because this heated hotline is from the mailbag. Hi, guys. It's Richie from Cranston. So this is becoming just a mess in the front office and coaches. It seems like they're taking all Green Bay's former crappy coaches. Now we get that bum McAdoo. And who makes the pick in the draft? I know they'll screw it up because they're morons. Exclamation point down the page. Thanks. Richie.
Richie, huh? Hey, Richie, thank you for the email. It's a new
Richie,
one.
that's a
We
new
heard
one,
from,
Richie. No,
we
I
haven't
never
heard from
heard
Richie
from
before.
Richie.
So
No.
we appreciate it. He's full of happiness, too. I don't think you like New Year's Eve either. He doesn't sound like a guy, or maybe he likes it a little, a little too much. He likes-
Certainly.
Maybe he has to be a friend of yours, Richie.
Send that shirt to Richie.
Yeah.
Send that shirt to Richie. So, well, listen, Mark, he brings up, okay, so we're talking about the Patriots coaching staff again. It is a mess. It's a mess because
it's a mess.
it's like an it's like just a mosh posh of people they've brought in. You know, I mean, yeah, okay, you got some consistency with the Green Bay tree line there. I don't know why you'd want the Mike McCarthy tree, but you seem to be having that because Elliott Wolf, he's got the connection to Green Bay. So now, okay, they bring in Alex Van Pelt, of course, but Ben McAdoo is what the writer was writing in about, the senior offensive assistant. And then you have Jerry Montgomery, the defensive line coach. That's a Green Bay guy too. I like that. I like
him.
that.
And now they said, Chris, it looks like they're going to bring Alonzo Highsmith possibly into a front office, into a personnel position as well. Unnamed personnel position.
Hey, of course. I don't think that's that bad either.
I don't either. But you know what that tells me, Chris? Maybe Groh is going to have to report to him, and Groh won't be the top guy in that personnel.
It's going to be Elliott Wolf.
I'd be okay with that.
Elliott Wolf is going to be the top guy. It's just shaping
up
up that he's the top guy because you see the
you know.
people they're bringing in. So, okay, let's talk about Ben McAdoo for a minute. Okay. Because I saw this too, and I'm with Richie. I don't understand. Like, I get the fact that you want to have a veteran, you want to have a guy that had head coaching experience, as an advisor in the offensive. But this guy can't show his face in New York.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. If you go back and look at his New York years, he was kind of the scapegoat for some dysfunction that was happening there at that time. And I will say this, Chris, not when he was head coach, the 2 years he was OC there, they were top 10 offensively in the league, the 2 years he was there. And he fixed Eli Manning struggled the year before he came on as OC. And he turned the guy around who was at the end of his career. I don't think McAdoo's a bad offensive guy. He's not a head coach. Absolutely not. But I think the other thing supposedly is his strength, Chris. That's what everyone is saying, is he can evaluate talent, and especially at the quarterback position.
Well, they're going to need that.
I don't know.
Okay, so if I'm wrong about that, and if
I might be totally off base with what I'm saying, but this is what I'm looking at and reading.
So if this is another one of those situations where couldn't be a head coach, but as good as an assistant, because when I look at this, I say, okay, if you wanted a guy like this, if you wanted an offensive guy that's been in the league and been a head coach, Caldwell's sitting there. I mean, Caldwell's had success
Caldwell's a defensive guy though too, right? Another defensive guy.
But my point is, he's a guy that had success as a head coach. You
Yep,
know what I mean?
Yes, he did. No, he did. Absolutely did.
And a good evaluator could lead somebody and help a guy like Mayo who's never done it before, right? I mean,
Yep. No, I agree with that.
The bigger picture in all this to me is a couple of things. One, who's making the decision? It looks like Elliot Wolf. Okay. And two, is this a product of the fact that nobody wants this? Nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted the Patriots, and they're just kind of taking what's left.
I think yes. Initially, yes. They went after some guys, Kaylee, a couple other guys. I think they got shot down. You're right, Chris. But then once the decision was made by Elliot Wolf, listen, we struck out on some of these younger guys.
Yeah.
He went to what was comfortable with him. I'm going to go back to my Green Bay connections because you, Chris, very astutely brought up Mayo knows nobody. You brought this up a while back. Who does Mayo know? How's he going to build a staff? Elliot Wolf is going to his connections now and saying, okay, I'll build these. I'll bring in my guys that I trust, that I can reach out. And that's key, Chris. I think Wolf trusts these guys to give him feedback and tell him, hey, this is what we want, right? And this is what we need, Elliot, to run this and to do what we want to do. And it may be a complete catastrophe, but
so it has the potential to work. I mean, look. I'm encouraged a bit in the fact that they wanted something from the Shanahan McVay tree. Now Van Pelt, these guys are not technically from that tree, but it all goes back to the Kubiak. It all goes back to that line. And so it's a version of it. It's kind of like an offset of that same. So, I mean, it has potential to work, but looking at who's going to be who's making decisions on personnel. So now you got Matt. You talked about he's a good evaluator of talent. All right. So you and I have been preaching about this draft and talking about we want Harrison at the third pick. Daniels maybe. I mean, Daniels is moving up everybody's board now. Dimitrov said that's the guy he would take when he was interviewed this week on Radio Row. And kind of going all in, putting all our chips in the middle and saying we're going to take one guy. Other people are saying, no, trade out of it. Trade out and get a tackle, accumulation of picks, maybe get a quarterback later, get a wide receiver later. But because you're not ready, Patriots, to take that one guy. You have too many things to have to deal with to take the one guy. Are we wrong? And are they right?
No, listen, at some point.
We're never wrong. But
no, of course not.
No,
but
for argument's sake.
Listen, I understand you need multiple guys on this team. You need to reconstruct an entire offense. Okay, I get that. However, I think, Chris, you could do it in 2 years. I think you can be competitive this year, win 7-8 games, maybe 9 games, maybe with a little luck. You're on the fringe of a wild card, and then I think year 2, you should be out with a playoff team. But listen. Look at the teams in the last 10 years, Chris, that have won championships. They got a quarterback. Listen, you need a quarterback, and unless you have Tom Brady, you need weapons, right? Mahomes, this is the first year, Chris. Mahomes hasn't really had weapons. Let's see what he does Sunday, okay? Let's see what he does Sunday. I just think Marvin Harrison, to me, Chris, is a generational talent.
Yeah.
So if he's there, maybe you love Daniels. If you really love Daniels and you think he's that guy, okay, maybe you take him. But if it's not, don't just take a quarterback to take one or trade down to get multiple picks. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a generational wide receiver. He will be a number 1 for years. And that's what it's going to take, Chris, to get you back.
And again, it's
because then you can draft a guy like Brock Purdy and add the weapons around them.
I mean, they could trade back up in, and they could get Penix, and they could do some other things like that. Listen, I'm with you. I could have started to question myself before and say, well, you know what? We've done this. We've seen this. We've seen this picture before. We've seen this movie before. You know, No, go. You need a stud. You can build around a stud.
Yeah,
Whether it's
you can.
and to me, I'm sorry, I can't deal with your region anymore. Okay, this offensive tackle, gotta get the tackle, mark. You know what I mean? You gotta get the tackle. It's like it's like you're living in a land. It's like Land of the Lost. Remember that show? And go back to prehistoric. Look, here's all I can tell you about a tackle, offensive line. You can buy an offensive line. Because here's the thing. If you have weapons and you got a decent quarterback to get the ball out, okay? Tom Brady didn't need, nobody's Tom Brady, but you didn't need a great offensive line because the ball's out 2 seconds. The ball's out 2.5 seconds. Nobody's putting enough on that. If you have enough talent on the outsides at skill where they can get separation off the ball, off the line of scrimmage, where they're open and that ball's coming out, that's what you're looking for. That really makes an offensive line look better, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely positively, Chris. Listen, I don't usually agree with you, but I am going to agree with you.
Well, you should.
But I will say this.
6% mark. The whole freaking wide receiving group last year had like 6 TDs. Jacoby Myers had 8.
Listen. Oh, by the way, you didn't want to come up $1 million to keep him, but that's a whole nother issue. That was on Radio Row this week too. But listen, wait a minute. So Chris is talking about tackles. I'm just going to throw this out there. We'll have this debate later as we get closer to the draft. Chris is the quarterback guy. He always wants the corner. I've been asking for a number 1 wide receiver for 5 years. 5.
Listen out there. Keep vigilant. I want to continue to hear it. Get the stud. You want Daniels? Yes. Fine. You want Harrison? Fine. Give me. I don't want other picks. I don't want to see it. I don't want to do it. No. And I don't know Richie. I don't know who's making the pick. It looks like it's going to be Elliott Wolf. And buckle up, because if it's Elliott Wolf, you're probably going to trade out of that pick and take the tackle. So, and then all of our notes get thrown up in the air. So, Richie, we appreciate the email. Heated Hotline was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. Hey, when we come back, we're going to welcome in the Pats Nation. We're going to talk the Super Bowl and give our breakdown. All that and more coming up.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. CorsoLawGroup.com.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. Okay, Mark. Super Bowl, what is this now? 58? Is that what we're doing? No?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know how to read Roman numerals. I don't understand them.
You're asking me how to read Roman numerals. Me? Really?
So, the matchup set. Kansas City, San Francisco. And by the way, we're going to give you a few. We're going to give you some prop bets. We're going to give you a little. We're going to throw Sunday spread it at the end of this and give you our picks also. But Mark, let's break this game down. We got a lot of time to do it, and I want to do it. So let's do it like the Patriots are playing. I want to talk keys to victory for each of these teams. So let's first go to Kansas City. For them to win this game, they need to.
For Kansas City to win this game, Chris, they're going to have to.
Taylor Swift padded up and out there onto the field.
No. On defense, Chris, they're going to have to disguise looks in bringing pressure, okay? Because, listen, that's all Spagnuolo does. Oh, what a defensive game plan. All Spagnuolo does is bring pressure, Chris, right? We know he's bringing pressure, but can he disguise it to confuse Purdy into Purdy maybe making some throws that lead to interceptions? Because we both agree Purdy is going to be a key in whether or not he can keep his composure in this game. And I think Spagnuolo is going to try to push the envelope to see if he can get him to lose his composure. The key for Kansas City, Chris, is going to be the defense, because I don't think offensively they can keep up with San Fran. San Fran puts up over 30 points. I don't think Mahomes is going to win this game 34-31, 37-34. Kansas City's defense is going to have to keep San Fran in the 20s for Kansas City to win this game.
Going to have to make Purdy beat you.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, San Francisco rushed for what, 180 yards, something like that last week,
something like that,
or 2 weeks ago. And
ago.
okay, so with shutting McCaffrey down, I mean,
Key.
I don't think you can.
But nobody does. Nobody does, Chris.
Right. I don't think
nobody
can.
does.
But you're going to have to get their running game under control. The zone running and the things that San Fran can do really, really takes a lot of pressure off Purdy. You know,
Chris, listen, the kid from Buffalo, Cook, ran the ball. He ran a ton in that game up at Buffalo, and McCaffrey is 1,000 times better than he is.
Now, I think what you're going to see from San Fran is on offense, you're going to see them, and we'll talk about what San Fran needs to do. But if there's some lanes, they may have Purdy getting out and running. They may watch that tape against Baltimore or Kansas City and say, hey, you know what? If there's something there, take it. Let's get this guy to stop blitzing. Whatever we got to do to stop the heat, that's what we'll do. You're right. Purdy's the key to this. So, but on offense for Kansas City, you know, I'm with you. I don't think they can score 30. I just don't think they can. I mean,
no.
To me, the key, people say, well, the key is going to be Mahomes, going to be Kelsey, right? The key to this is going to be Pacheco, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because for as much as people say, well, he's not an elusive, you know, he's not a hard-nosed tackle to tackle guy. You know, I got to be honest with you, he is. When they run him tackle to tackle, he's as tough as nails, and he gets the extra yards. Of course, it's a product of nobody tackling right, but that's another story for another day.
And he has that burst of speed, Chris, through the hole.
Yeah.
That gets him that extra yardage.
He's got good vision at the second level, and he is tough. He will keep his legs churning. So to me, Pacheco is a key to this for Kansas City and to get him going and for them to be able to run the ball a little bit, to open some things up in the middle, to get Kelsey open. And because Kelsey's they're gonna have trouble with those two linebackers from San Francisco. You know, my two best friends, you know, Warner and Greenlaw, because those are two, they haven't seen two linebackers like that can play in space the way those two guys can. I get what they saw against Baltimore. But
Baltimore's linebackers are good.
They're legit, but they're legit more so at the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
You know, these two guys that that Kansas City's going to see are great in space. They can go lateral, they can move, and they can come off the line. They can show zero and back off with ease and clog up those throwing lanes. So it's going to be important for Kansas City to get Pacheco going and Rice, you know? So I don't see them being able to score more than 24 points in this game. Do you?
No, Chris, they haven't scored in the 30s. And even in the Buffalo game, what did they score? Did they score 30 in the Buffalo game? I don't think they did.
Go back and look. I don't
but
so.
Buffalo, Kansas City, Chris, they remind me, believe it or not, and they remind me a little bit of the 18 Patriots.
Yeah.
Where defensively, they played well. On offense, Brady was able to manufacture enough points in each game to move on. And it seems like Mahomes has figured out, hey, whatever I got to do to score just enough points and my defense holds it, that's what I'm going to do. I think Mahomes knows they can't score that many points this year, but he's playing within the flow of the game and whether it's using clock or you know, and they have been using a lot of clock, Chris. I just think Kansas City has been able to adapt and play differently this year. They know they don't have that offense. They know they don't. And
that's something Mahomes did. They scored 27 points, by the way, in that division round.
30, okay.
So they hit 30. No. And he has been doing that. The one thing, they only scored 17 points against Baltimore. And so they didn't score in the second half. But what he did is he kept the ball.
He did.
You know, the time of possession was pretty good in that game. And so he was able to keep the ball and long sustained drives. So, and they're going to need that. I mean, they're going to need that. The time of possession in that game, Mark, was they had the ball for 37 minutes.
Yeah.
They had the ball for 37 minutes. They only scored 17 points. So those are long sustained drives. They're going to need that. Now, on the other side, San Francisco, who is favored in this game by 2 points. It hasn't moved much. It was like 2.5. Came down to 2.
Hasn't moved much.
So for San Francisco to win this game, Is it all about Purdy? I
Yeah.
mean,
I believe it's all about the listen, San Fran. Well, I'll say this, Chris. I think it's all about Purdy. I think it's about the San Fran offense. Can San Fran's offense? You and I used to talk about during the Patriots' heyday. If they hit 30, that's the target.
Yeah.
San Fran hits 30, that's the target. They got to get into the 30s this week, Chris. I just don't think Kansas City can get there if they score in the 30s. Purdy's going to be the key, Chris. As you said, he's going to have to make some plays with his legs. He's going to have to make good decisions, and he's going to have to take a sack when he needs to and not force something where you're giving them into turnovers, because if you give Mahomes a short field, then they could get 30 if you're giving him short fields, right? You're going to have to make Kansas City go to length of the field. And I will say this, on defense for San Francisco, Chris, if they think they're going to sit in zone, because they play a lot of zone,
zone team.
Mahomes is going to pick them apart. He's going to 5-7, 5-7, 5. He's just going to dink and dunk them all the way down the field like he did it in those first couple of possessions against Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it firsthand what happens in zone.
Yeah.
Now, again, they're a team that's their, they play a lot of zone. Now, again, I keep telling everybody out there, don't get caught up in, is it zone? Is it man? Is it zone? Is it man? Today's defense is a zone man concepts. They're not, it's not straight across the board, across the field, what you're seeing. I mean, you see man concepts when it's solo receivers, you see zone, so there's a lot of differences that are happening on a defense, but primarily, you see zone. And the problem with San Fran playing zone so much like they do is the middle of the field. Kansas City makes their money in the middle of the field. And even with Rice, he catches balls on the outside, but he's going to catch balls on the inside too and run with it. Kelsey is the problem. If San Fran on defense is going to have to get Kelsey under control, okay, they're going to have to chip him, reroute him, do things with him. You can't just do what Baltimore did. Baltimore allowed free releases. Now, I get it. Andy Reid does things to get him open. He does things to rub for him and pick. Does. They run a pick play better than anybody, but he does a lot of things like that. But as with these athletic linebackers, you're going to have to chip, reroute, disrupt his, and allow your pass rush to get home, Bosa and company. But
Chris, they rush four. Like they typically rush four and drop everybody else back. Can you beat Mahomes rushing four guys and not disguising pressure and giving him different looks? Listen, I know I was his biggest critic for the last 3 years, but does anybody watch Belichick's tape on what to do with this kid? Because he seems to be the only guy that's been able to limit this kid every time they play them.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. They're going to be relying on those two middle linebackers a lot if they're going to be in zone. They're going to rely on them a lot to deal with Kelsey. And on the offensive side of the ball, this is about McCaffrey. You've got to run the ball. They ran the ball for 155 yards against Detroit, and you're going to have to do the same thing against Kansas City. That's it. You're going to have to run the ball. It's going to have to be the McCaffrey show. McCaffrey's going to have to be the MVP to win this game.
Okay.
To me, it is going to be Purdy. It's going to be McCaffrey. And that's what it's going to take, because I don't think Purdy's right. I think Purdy will, if you put it in his hands, he will wet himself. They need to run the ball, control the clock, get a lead. Play with a lead if you're San Fran. Play with a lead.
It's going to be
and win on first down, Mark. Win on first down.
Mahomes, Chris, has had the lead the entire playoffs. He's had teams chasing him the entire playoffs. The Buffalo game, their opening round game, the Baltimore game. You're right, Chris. Can San Fran get a lead? And I know Mahomes brings them back. He can bring them back. But you are right. San Fran needs to play from the lead.
And no turnovers. So, Mark, picking this game, okay? It's a 2-point spread, basically a pick. Give me a pick and give me a score. Come on. And what's the over on the 47.5 in case
you know Mahomes is going to win this damn game. I'm not going to pick him.
I don't even want to.
Listen, I'm not going to pick him. I'm not picking him. I told you week 7, if they get healthy for the second half of the season, San Fran's my Super Bowl team. I'm going to go with San Fran. I know he's going to beat me, but I'm going with San Fran. Final score 34-24. San Francisco.
Right. So you also then have the over then too.
Yeah, if you want to say that, but I
It's 47.5.
okay, well, 34-24 San Fran.
Is that over 47?
That's over
my math.
47. Yeah.
Can't do the math. Yeah. Okay. I like San Fran too. I like them 30. I like them 31-27.
Okay.
I like San Fran to jump out, get a lead, build a
hold.
little bit on it, and see Kansas City try to come back. But at the end of the day, I think those two linebackers are going to get it done on defense. That's
You
who I'm
love
rooting
those
for.
linebackers.
Oh,
You
man,
love
I
them.
love those guys. I really do. So I do think they'll. I think they'll cover the spread, and I think they'll. They'll go over on the over under of 47.5, which it sits at now. But a few little prop bets, Mark. Talking about Sunday spread, right? I mean,
Yeah.
There's nothing else to gamble on. I mean, in the coming weeks, Sunday spread, we're going to be moving into basketball a little bit and doing some hockey, a little bit, some really degenerate good stuff. I want to talk about.
You'll bet the coin flip.
No, but there's some pretty good prop bets. I mean, if
There is.
you look at some of the odds, some of the passing odds here, Mahomes. Now these are all always negative numbers.
Yeah.
So Mahomes to throw over and under 261 is a minus 115 on the money, and Purdy's 246 yards, same odds. Throw that out. That's no
Throw
good.
that out.
Receiving yards. Okay. Talking about a pretty good stuff here is like a George Kittle, for example.
Well, I was just going to say he's my sleeper, Chris. I think he's going to have a game. He's going to score. He's going to get a touchdown. He's going to have a game. He's going over 47. He's going to have about 70 yards received. Yes, he's my sleeper.
I think it's under. And I see it's a
Kittle's
plus 100. It's a plus
sleeper.
100 for Kittle to go under 47. I like that.
He's my sleeper over.
He's going to be the sleeper to kick open the game for sure.
Yeah.
I think Debo's going to be the sleeper.
Hey, you want a good bet? I'll give you a good bet. Plus 100 for Purdy to rush for more than 12.5 yards. There's a good pick.
Oh, that's a good pick.
That's a good pick. With as much man as they play, that's a good pick. And then I know we're going to go Super Bowl MVP. McCaffrey is sitting at a plus 475. Love that. I love that.
Yeah, I would think McCaffrey. If you think San Fran's winning the game, you got to go with McCaffrey.
I love plus 475.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
And then to score a touchdown, okay? First touchdown score, McCaffrey's a plus 400. Take it.
Take it. You know what I go with? He scores first every week for Kansas City. Pacheco.
He's a plus 650 for a first touchdown. But on any time he's a minus 120.
I like him to score first.
Hey, listen, anytime touchdown, Debo Samuel's a plus 135. That's a good bet.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet.
So, hey, listen, betting game too. Betting game with the spread.
Joe, unfortunately, there's no prop bet on Joe Montana. He's not playing.
No prop bet on Montana, Joe. Sorry. That's not going to happen.
I will say this, the closest thing to his demeanor, to a Montana demeanor out there.
So give us your pick, Joe.
Oh, San Fran. But Mark had said the score with his other evaluation, 34-31. I think Kansas City will reach the 30s, but San Fran definitely pulls it out 34-31.
High scoring game. So we'll see what happens and let us know in Heated Hotline if what you think of what we did this week. Corso and Catone was presented by Corso Law Group. Hey, get on, watch. All our shows are up for you to listen. Make sure you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. Get all of our notifications and come back next week, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk the result of this Super Bowl, talk some Celtics, Bruins, Catone's comments. Hopefully he'll have a different shirt on that doesn't ruin the show.
Oh, I'm not wearing it. Can't wear it.
Anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.